English teachers in Korea. They were totally losers back at home, and they're totally losers here in Korea. Or are we not? That's right, I was an English teacher too. We break down whether or not I was or still am a loser this week on Korea Demystified. Ever heard of an LBH? It stands for loser back home. Basically, it means a person was not cool enough to make it in their own home country. In America, he was a zero, but in Korea, he's a hero. Thumbs up, buddy. But before we go on any further, let's hit the streets and ask some Koreans and foreigners about their opinions on foreigner English teachers in Korea.
한국에 있는 외국인 영어 선생님 생각할 때 어떤 이미지가 연상됐나요?
그냥 좀 리액션 좀 강하고 전형적인 그냥 외국인 스타일. 네. 서양인들은 좀 리액션도 좀 강하잖아요. 막 놀랄 때도 좀 화끈하게 놀라고.
그래요?
네. 그런 것 같아요. 좀 잘하시네요.
왜 그러니까요? 근데 뭐 가끔 한국 사람들은 주변에서
네.
외국인 영어 선생님들 또 부정적인 고정관념 있나요?
저나 제 주변 사람들 보통 다 이태원에서 나고 자라는 사람들이라서 어릴 때부터 좀 외국인을 좀 봐와서 그런지 모르겠는데
네.
부정적인 관념은 없는 것 같아요.
아 그래요?
네.
그럼
다들 친해지고 싶어 하면
네.
친해지고 싶어 했지 약간 좀 부정적인 건 없는 것 같아요.
시대 차이가 있다고 생각하시나요?
세대 차이요?
세대 차이. 예.
세대 차이도 딱히 한국 사람이랑 한국 사람의 세대 차이는 좀 많은데 외국인이랑 한국 사람의 세대 차이는 좀 못 느끼는 것 같아요.
네. 감사합니다.
네.
네. 한국에 있는 외국인 영어 선생님 생각할 때
네.
어떤 이미지가 연상됐나요?
어떤 이미지? 그냥 저 어렸을 때부터 영어 학원 다녔을 때 이제 외국인 영어 선생님 많이 봤고 그냥 오히려 한국인 영어 선생님보다 더 살갑게 놀아주시는 그런 전 긍정적인 면들이 많았어가지고 좋았던 것 같아요.
그래서 그런 경험 외국인 만난 경험 만나서
네.
아마 조금 더 익숙해지셨나요?
네, 그리고 저는 실제로 이모부가 미국인이시거든요.
네.
그래가지고 그냥 진짜 어렸을 때부터 외국인과 되게 많이 소통하면서 뭐 미국인도 그렇고 다른 나라 사람들도 많이 봤어가지고
네, 그 주변에서 외국인 영어 선생님들 뭐
네.
부정적인 고정관념 있나요?
부정적인 고정관념. 근데 실제로 제 주변에서 못 봤고 그냥 인터넷에서 떠돌아다니는 것만 봤죠. 근데 제 주변 친구들은 그런 사람은 별로 없었어요.
그런 고정관념 아니면 또는 인식 뭐 때문에 발생한다고 생각하시나요?
이게 그러니까 뭐 외국인들의 잘못이라기보다는 아무래도 저희 나라가 지금은 별로 아니게 되었지만 단일 민족 국가였어서 아무래도 외국인들이 이제 들어오거나 일을 하는 것에 대해서 부정적으로 보는 견해들이 있다고 인터넷에서 보긴 했었어요.
Well, 감사합니다. So Dave, you've been an English teacher in Korea and you're now an English teacher in China. What do you think about English teachers in general, foreigner English teachers in Asia?
Well, they're a hard-working bunch, I would say, because that's what I used to do. So, they come over mostly for many different reasons, and you get a lot of different stories. So it's a wide, varied group of people, and I met some really good friends, and I met some people who didn't remain friends. So it's a pretty wide group of different people from different countries, but never dull.
Are you aware of any stereotypes in Korea or in China that foreigner English teachers have?
Yeah, there are some, and I don't know, good and bad. Some people think that foreigners are over here because they don't get along with people in their own country, and I have seen some people like that. Some people like the foreigners over here, and some people actually give us preferential treatment. So again, you get a little bit of a mix from both ends of the spectrum.
well, you did mention that there are some people who exhibit those stereotypes. Do you think sometimes the stereotypes are justified, or you can understand where they come from?
Yeah, I can understand, because I have met people like that too. They're a bit of, maybe what you might call a misfit in their own country, and they come to China or Korea because it's hard for other people to realize that, these people are not cool. But, for the most part, like I say, I meet a lot of people in my work, and I usually get along with them.
Now, last question. Since you have such a unique situation, you've taught in Korea, you've taught in China. Are there any differences in either the teachers or the way the teachers are treated in those two countries?
Yeah, I would say right now, China and the ESL field is 10 years behind where 10 years ago in Korea, it's about the way it is in China right now. So things are developing there, but I remember when Korea were calling for teachers and it was easy to get work here. Now it's the opposite. In China, they're crying out for teachers and it's easy to get work there, and a lot of people are making the switch. I actually 1 year ago, not even 4 months ago, I made the switch.
Wow.
And the difference is mainly one of time. As they get more used to the ESL market, I think they'll end up catching up to Korea, or maybe catching up to now in a few years' time.
All right, thank you so much. That was really helpful. Appreciate it, Dave.
I gotta admit, I was pretty surprised by some of those answers. They were very positive, and I'm not sure I would have expected those same responses 7 or 8 years ago. But we do need to address some of the stereotypes that are out there. The first one being that English teachers in Korea are not qualified, and honestly, that's true. Remember, all you need to be an English teacher in Korea is a degree from an English-speaking country, and that's it. They don't pay enough for qualified teachers to come over here, so they're getting a bunch of kids straight out of college to come and be English teachers. I'm not even sure that... Okay, I totally wasn't qualified when I first came here to be an English teacher. It's just a fact. And what about the stereotype about foreigners not being able to get jobs back in their home countries? Well, there's some truth to it. Because remember, when I came in 2009, the United States was going through an economic crisis. It was just after the housing bubble had burst, and there weren't many jobs for us to find. However, in my incoming teacher group, there were plenty of people coming from professional backgrounds. People in med school, doctors, dentists, lawyers, business people, lots of people who had way higher salary jobs than English teachers were coming here to just find a new life and try something different. However, there are plenty of losers here in Korea. Remember what I said before? All it takes is a degree from an English-speaking country, and it sort of helps to be, well, white. See, when it's easy for a certain group of people to get into the system, it means it's easy for losers from that group of people to get into the system. There are a lot of people here that don't deserve to be here. However, final verdict, I gotta say I can't brush everybody with the same broad stroke. Not guilty. So there we have it. But with the caveat that there are plenty of people that I'm embarrassed to call fellow English teachers here in Korea. Not everyone's perfect, but the majority of English teachers here, I would say, are fairly good people. That's it for this week on Korea Demystified. Any more questions about Korea? You know what to do. Go ahead, leave a comment, and as always, like and subscribe to get more videos just like this. TSlug Alex, 였습니다. Catch you next time.